And we are back with the final segment for episode number 2 of Inward Bound for Mindful Living. Mr. Suryarachi, we ended the last segment with you telling us about habit and how the mind works in a habitual manner. Now, my question to you is, people themselves are very habitual, they're creatures of habit. So, over years, over decades, they have gotten used to a certain mindset, a certain way of doing things. So, what makes you think that you can come along and, pardon me for saying so, but pretty much tell them the way you've been looking at things is wrong? This is exactly how you have to look at things. That in itself is a complete shift, a paradigm shift almost, of their habit.
It's a new habit.
Very well said.
Yeah, because what you said is true. We are creatures of habit because habit gives us a sense of comfort, right? You don't have to think; it becomes autopilot, and as a result, we don't know what's happening, right? So what we'll do is we will, once you start practicing mindfulness, although I haven't taught you some techniques, but it's more important to understand, the bigger picture. A way to go beyond this current habit, right? And when I look back as a as a person who has practiced this, is once you acquire this way of doing things, it becomes, which I would like to call it, a new mind operating system. It becomes part of your life, right? You begin to become aware of what happens with you much faster, right? All these things I have discovered by practice, right? But as any skill, it needs to be practiced over time, right? You can't be tomorrow a good swimmer, tomorrow in one day you can't be a person to cycle. Coming back to the point that we were discussing, this constant chatter, we are not used to being silent. We are so habitual, we want to keep talking, right? To illustrate this point, actually some of these Zen stories, Shavin, are very interesting. I love these stories because they explain these things in a very, very beautiful way. There were these 4 Zen students, they were sitting in silence, and they put a candle in the middle, and they said, we will not speak, we will observe silence. So they were seated, and the candle started to flicker. One guy said, oh, it's about to go off. Second person said, don't talk. Third one said, why are you talking? We are not supposed to talk. Fourth one said, see, I'm the only one who didn't talk. So our mind is exactly the same, right? We are not used to being silent, right? Because we are constantly being, I don't want to use the word trained, but we are being constantly doing this of constant chatter. So if there is no chatter, you're missing something, right? Later I want to dwell onto this loneliness, but it's also because of this chatter thing, right? So if you practice mindfulness, what happens is you become aware this chatter is going on. And I told you mindfulness is about not getting involved, right? So if you can not get involved with the chatter, then you can listen to what happens, right?
Be aware of.
Be aware of it. Because once you become aware of this chatter, then you can stop proliferating, right? That's another habit. All what we need is a simple cue for the mind to build a movie, right? How many horror movies we make during the day, right? One day, I was at a function, and I suddenly remembered that I didn't lock the car. Right? I was not sure, did I lock the car or not lock the car? And now I am thinking, while in this place, I cannot get out because something, I was in the middle of a panel discussion. Now I'm thinking, oh, I left my laptop in the car. Now somebody would come and open this car and find the laptop, and it will go back, and then there's a lot of sensitive information of the company, and there'll be a major problem.
We've all become script writers.
Yeah, and some of these movies we create we cannot show, but isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? You don't need the whole, small plot is enough, right? And unfortunately, most of us don't develop it into a
We don't take that next step.
next step of converting it to a story, but this is what happens, right? To a mother who is in office, somebody calls and said, servant calls and says, "Madam, the child fell." Right? That's enough.
Yeah.
Now the child is bleeding, and you have no time to go home, and
You have already created the eventualities before even, that's
exactly. So this is again because of this habit of our mind. You want to build on, and our mind is like a meeting without an agenda or a chairperson. So every topic that pops up, you grab it, because our habit is grabbing. If it is interesting, we go along. If it is not, we keep fighting with it. Yeah, inside your mind, right? And most of the time, we are not here. We are either in the past or in the future. And life continues at this moment, and you miss the point.
And I think from this point onwards, we'll have to continue the series on. So this is actually going to be the end of this segment and this episode. Thank you very much, Mr. Suryarachi, for a very insightful episode. Till next time, goodbye.